Happy Saturday, my friends. Hope you're having a wonderful weekend. Welcome to the Corporate Esports Association Spring Charity Tournament. My name is Bull Skunk alongside Mana Class, and we've got a couple of fantastic matches coming at you today. A little bit later on, we're going to see Raytheon taking on Amazon Fire Force. But first and foremost, it's G9Lul, excuse me, versus Office 365 No Scope.
Now, of course, we've seen these teams before. We've seen them last season. We see them every split. They just come back and have all these six mappers between them. Today, maybe it's not going to be any different. Going to get another six map series, but it could be that the warm up that G9 usually needs is going to be a little bit late, and they can just get three out straight away. There's a lot of possibilities here, but we do know that these teams are super close together, and a big reason for that is just their lineups and the way that they've been playing together for a while. Like, it's not like they change a lot about what they bring to the table. They come in with the same players, they get the same results, and well, if there's that much consistency, the only real difference is either maybe map choices or balance changes that we had, and it's not been that crazy. So I'm not expecting anything different.
No, I mean all three times they play each other has been a map six. So I mean, that's a safe roll of the dice, Classy. Like let's
Yeah.
just buckle in. We're in for the long haul. This is sure to be a close one. We'll see. We'll see if G9 Law can warm up quicker than expected, or if about map three we start to see them finally find their final form.
Yeah, it's definitely a question mark that we all have in front of us, but it looks like we're going to be starting on Nepal today. And Nepal, of course, a map that has a lot of diversity and it has a lot of different options that
Sure.
you can run. And because there has been such a diverse meta of late, especially within CEA, we don't really know what to expect. But we always have a few things we can pull forward that we can kind of guess at, and that is easier for the second match, but still very much possible in the first one. And there's a few players that you generally need to watch out for. One in particular that we always come back to is Senior Cheese. Has that higher SR in the pocket, but is a very good off tank in general. Whether it's on Roadhog, on Zarya, on Diva, they always come to play. They always bring out the big guns, so to speak. And on the other side, I mean, there's definitely quite a few players to watch out for as well. I'm particularly looking towards their DPS line to get some work done. And it becomes an interesting matchup when you have different parts of of both teams being like the stronger parts on paper. And in practice, what wins out? Is it the stronger tank line, the stronger DPS line? Are the supports the difference makers? And that can vary day by day as well.
Absolutely, as we head into our first map, and I'm keeping an eye on this support line from G9 Lul as well. Both fairly highly rated.
Yeah.
Looking looking for a strong Ana from Johnny B. Big Ana could certainly be the difference maker, especially if Senior Cheese decides to pull out that Roadhog. They're going to be facing those Bionades. Got to be very careful. The Sleep Darts interrupting the heal. The Bionades interrupting the heal. Could leave Senior Cheese as a big ult battery.
Yeah, Senior Cheese is potentially that, but again, it's all about what they actually come out the door with. This doesn't feel like a real big Roadhog map. It's more like a Reinhardt Zarya thing, where the teams will pull out a lot of the time. That is what they've currently got lined up in their spawn. Might see Mid Radius actually go for this Sigma. We've seen them do this before, the double barrier strategy. And double barrier, so of course very annoying to everybody because there's two shields in your way instead of just one. Mont William with the Symmetra is likely just going to be a out of spawn situation, but it is a known strategy, especially on this map. You can go into village, into that checkpoint, set up walls, set up Symmetra turrets, and then the other team has to come in. That's where the double shield is going to get extra power too, and that is exactly what they're going to come out with. That's what they're going to do. Just go to the point and set up the bunker.
And we've got Mon Williams in on the Symmetra as opposed to T Just Beat. So we'll see if they can live up to the same standards. I heard the legends of T Just B's sim, so I'm curious to see how they execute with the sim coming in. And then with the Sigma, you've got a lot of options. Gives you a lot of firepower and a lot of staying power on this point with a nice wall to start things off. Immortality Field thrown in is going to allow Hypno Beam to run in, get aggressive, find the kills. The front line of Office 365 are just mowing down the opposition, and they're going to claim this point with a quickness.
Looks like a fairly clean engage as well from them. Of course, you do have a little trouble when you're RG9. You don't have that same pushing power because you are set up for the defense. But they did get overrun a little easier than I might have expected, and a lot of it had to do with the way that it was approached on the other side. We're seeing if Microsoft Office 365 can have a similarly impressive defense. They just go on the offensive, actually. They go very close, very aggressive. They don't want to have that distance between them.
They'll try to hold this door as Immortal is struggling, searching for a way out. Oh, the Shatter will get you out. That's a 4-man on the floor, and Mid follows it up with a couple of great kills. Beautiful Shatter combined with the Ant Matrix, and G9Lul looking to flip the point.
You can see how much easier Mortal Wombat has that Shatter opportunity. There's only one shield in his way, and as soon as Hypno Beam drops it, gets flashed, gets stunned out of the way, it's such an easy one to just drop onto the ground, whereas Hypno Beam has 2 shields to worry about, a Mei Wall, also that stun from the McCree to maybe stop it. Like, there's so much that they need to worry about before that ultimate finds value. That's, hopefully he could get it off this fight for them, otherwise this might be a tough one.
Well, Office 365 come back with that sound barrier, going to use that immediately to give them the early edge in the fight. Shatter comes down, finds 3 from Hypno. As Biggie's is going to go ahead and launch the Dragons right across point. Try to divide and conquer G9Lul. And it looks like it'll be successful as Mon Williams gets taken down trying to work the off angle. And now Mortal is in a big bunch of trouble.
I mean, talk about back and forth, Spool Skunk. It's been 4 fights, and we're barely at 50% for one of the teams. That's what you love to see on Control. It's really a back and forth thing. High speed fights. There's not really a lot of drag out engagements. Maybe we'll get one of those soon, but with this ult advantage, I'm just gonna see this go the G9's way, and then we're gonna get another quick one. It's just not looking like a strong hold.
Gravitic Flux to start things off. Graviton Surge Blizzard combo using to counter. And the counter punch a bit stronger as quickly the kill feed lights up red. And finally, we get a team actually holding the objective.
You throw out a very strong combo. It's that high noon with the Gravitic Flux, the Sky Noon, as we like to call it sometimes. But unfortunately, if Jahan throws out that Blizzard, everyone's just gonna get stuck in place. They can't follow up, they can't disable any defenses, and well, they just get kind of messed up themselves. Now we're gonna get a drop on the high ground. The tank line split off. Bullsky, it's over before it begins.
Oh my goodness. The top rope Shatter eliminates the tank line immediately. The overtime works burning. The 2 DPS, the 2 supports got to try something. Johnny's going to throw down the barrier in a desperate attempt to try to regain some presence. But one by one, they're just getting decimated by 365. And they're going to take round 1. Office 365, in expected fashion, starting off strong as G9Lul's are, still trying to warm up a bit, it seems.
We are sort of used to that from them. I will say that much. They are not the team that comes hot out of the gates, but it is not worrying just yet. They did have a fair few good fights, but you got to at some point have a defense, right? You got to at some point be able to hold that objective when it's in your control. They haven't been able to do it just yet, and we'll see if they can set up better on this point. You're going to see Hypno Beam go over to the Wrecking Ball. It's a very popular choice on this map in particular. There's a lot of environmental kill potential. And of course, with that environment, it also helps if you have a lot of mobility to get around that. Send your cheese over to the Roadhog. We talked about it before. I'm looking forward to seeing some people getting hooked into the abyss. But Zenyatta's lost treasure might be found.
Yeah, Sanctum was definitely the map I had in mind when I was talking about cheese on that hog, and indeed, we get the big hook pig out there coming in with this composition. I love the Hypno Beam on the ball. It's going to cause a lot of disruption. Of course, you've got the environmental potential as G9Lul's are pathing up through the small room, just trying to catch somebody off guard, sticking in their little death ball, but they might put themselves into a bit of a corner. You see Senior Cheese just waiting for the drop, and there it is. But the shield is there, reading the hook nicely. Mortal's going to push forward, but the ante over the top, and the tanks are in trouble. Senior Cheese gets walled off, gets booped, and then gets killed before they even fall into the hole. Nice play from G9 just to absolutely pounce on Senior Cheese. And with that front line gone, there's no real presence left for Office 365 as Cheese makes the swap.
I was really waiting for Hypno Beam to come from behind them and boop them out of this hidey hole that they're in, because they need to be able to be evicted. If they cannot get in there, then they need to try and pull them out. And yeah, G9 is holding strong. You can see Mud William already looking. Is someone going to drop behind us? What's going to happen here? But Jahan and Biggie's, they have to do a lot to get out of this, and it's just going to be easy boops because Senior Cheese again falls off the map.
The perfect wall from Burn and Nate setting that up made Johnny B's life very simple. They're sticking to the fight. 365. Hypno Beam just faces the brunt of that, though. You're running a Wrecking Ball into a May McCree. Like, it's just so difficult to find any room to work. And Hypno Beam feeling the brunt of that right now.
You have to find that opening. It's really, there's a few routes that are very popular and very known for Wrecking Ball on this map. And you just see that G9 is doing such a good job of just being ready for those, angles, being ready for those approaches. They don't want to get booped off. They don't want to get displaced. That May and that McCree, Mutt William and Burninade are doing such a good job of watching them. Right now, they're just on the point. They have been evicted. They have no reason to leave the objective, and they're just fine where they are.
Wholesale swaps from off of 365. I worry it might be too late. We can put some way behind the economy. But hey, there you go. Won it in the mid fight. Two great picks from Big E's Hanzo. That's going to open things up. Johnny B's going to throw down the barrier in hopes of trying to get this clock up to 99 at the very least. But Burninade finds themselves down hunting for Zenyatta's treasure as well. And that counter's not going to quite make it to 99.
Biggie Z has been popping on Hanzo for now, and once again, you're looking for that player. You're looking for that one pop-off player that just gets a few picks sometimes. This time, the Hanzo arrows were landing. I mean, it's not surprising. You do throw just tree trunks at someone's head, but, you know, they still hit. You still get damage for it. You're seeing if that Dragon Graph combo might come out this fight, because your cheese is awfully close to that Graviton. You could use them separately.
Yeah, and with Johnny B using that sound barrier in that last fight, they don't really have any tools to defend against the Wombo combo coming through. The Deadeye kind of devalue on the Amp Matrix to start things off, but the Amp Matrix is going to last a little bit longer. See G9Lul not really able to push past it. They're going to throw that Blizzard onto the point. That's going to pick up both tanks. And Mortal moves in for the kill, finds those. Dragon's coming out, Sands, Graviton Surge. Knowing that they have to make something happen. If G9 take this fight, they are going to send us to Shrine as they flip the point. 98, 99, nobody there to touch. And Nepal all tied up.
It's unfortunate. We were talking up Senior Cheese so much, and this round they really were very quiet. Didn't get a Graviton online, just got booped off the map twice on Rodok, once and on Zarya. And we're continuously split off from the team, just not with a unit. And whether that's a flank play they're trying to set up or whether there was something else going on there, I'm not entirely sure, but it seemed a bit like a mistake, like a miscommunication. So that's something to clean up right there. It's not a, I mean, I'm not saying it's that easy, but it's not that hard to like figure out, okay, we're just going to be with the team. I'm not going to go off on my own. That's like Overwatch 101 at times. So we'll see if Senior Cheese can pull that together. Right now, we're going to see Mutt William come out on that Symmetra again. They're going to try this same strategy. It didn't work for them on Village, but it could potentially work for them here on Shrine. Both teams out of the gates fairly quickly, and Mutt William will not use that Symmetra, just uses it for the TP quality. And both teams arrive at the point very similarly.
We're seeing Cheese on the Zarya with mid on the Diva. So a lot more frontline damage as you can see the pressure coming in on Mortal right away, forcing that Immortality field out early. And Mortal is just backing up, looking for safety behind center pillar. Good wall in response with the counter, but Bubbles and Immortality there, and both teams still standing tall at a full 6v6, looking for that first opening with the vibe back and forth. Nice Fire Strike, followed up with the shot, but Catalyst goes down. You take that trade if you're G9Lul. The Baptiste's gone. It's going to force a very quick retreat from Office.
It's exactly what they needed. I mean, it's exactly what you need, right? You need that one counter pick, and if it's the right hero, either you counter pick the Reinhardt or you get that Baptiste. That's a big deal. It's so much healing gone that you still have. Immortality field, just AoE heal as well. It's so good to have that Baptiste on your side. Electric already has that ultimate. You can see that difference in healing they've been able to do for that. The Lucios are exactly tied. So, yeah, I'm going to be seeing if that Shatter window combo could potentially be a thing.
But Burninade has the lead, and is going to increase that with Jahan going down. Blizzard in this fight could be the winner, and they might not even need it. Two quick picks, going to win it in the mid, needing only Mortal Shatter to maintain control.
They've been good at holding their objectives. Like whenever they get control of them, at least on the last point and on this point so far, it's looking a lot more organized than it was on Village. And maybe they just don't want to go with that Symmetra strat anymore. Maybe that was their problem. Right now they're doing, doing a pretty good job. I mean, they've got their ultimate still in the bank for basically ready for this fight. They have to fight against 6, but they're ready.
Blizzard come out first. The sound barriers on the other side. The shatter from Hypno is nice and fat. And the follow-up there onto Burning It. Now pushing in, getting aggressive and just barreling through this defense. Office 365 had enough. They will evict G9.
They had a lot to work with. They spent almost all of it, but they will have that Blizzard for the next fight, and there's nothing to counter it. Maybe there will be a zoning self-destruct that could potentially help with some follow-up. You see a lot of divas do that, where a big CC or a big team-wiping ultimate comes in, and they just deny the follow-up with a self-destruct. Because, of course, do not want to get blown up by a diva mech. See if Jahan is managing to place that without it getting eaten or without it getting followed up by a self-destruct.
Well, I mean, that's the catch-22. If the self-destruct comes out, then you're not in mech to eat it, assuming you can shield and follow up. I mean, it's a little bit of a Sophie's choice there, as Wall's not really going to provide the necessary block. The healers just circumvent it, and they're going to drop an Amp Matrix and counter back with double damage. Mid looking for it, but no, cannot eat the Blizzard. It is out. It is all cold on Shrine. Shatter coming through. And that will take Hypno down. The counter is there. Mortal able to weave through the chaos and find that kill onto the main tank and give a huge advantage. Eventually goes down, overextending on Elephant's side as Senior Cheese charged up, was able to pick up a pair and might be able to bring it back. It's dwindled down to a 3v2 on the point. And then the Reinhardt under a lot of pressure, just trying to hang on for as long as possible, using the sound barrier to do so. But Johnny B and company will eventually take them down. Mid is going to run off the remainders and try to flip this point.
They're looking for more. They're looking for all these eliminations to actually flip it back, but it's not happening at this stage. And there's another freeze. And actually, Graviton.
Holding them in place. The Deadeye coming out as well is going to take down Biggies. That's a good start, especially if you can find both DPS, and G9Lul will eventually win out this prolonged fight.
It was interesting because we talked about the lead up to that fight with the self-destruct in the Blizzard. Jaehyun has almost got another one, but Jaehyun kind of missed their Blizzard. They threw it in a corner of the point, and the entirety of G9 was on the other side, so there wasn't even a possibility to eat it. I think Midori just would have been too far away. That also meant there was no necessary follow-up for that self-destruct. This fight, though, they can maybe use it early to disrupt that rotation coming in. They can disrupt the enemy team and split them up. And Office 365 might not have an answer for that. We see it exactly happen that way.
Self-destruct going in, the Shatter comes through from the other side. It's the Blizzard out from Burning It this time. And that one found everybody clean right in the middle, splitting a 365 no-scope in half. And G9Lul starting off strong. Actually take map number 1, Classic.
G9Lul completely on the ball with everything. I am I would say I'm impressed. I expect this from them, but they definitely showed up, and Senior Cheese kind of redeeming themselves for that Sanctum play, because that didn't go their way. It's kind of stuck in a lot of ways, but this time around they are back in the driver's seat, 1-0 up. Of course, it's the first of 3 series, so we're not there just yet. But that means we're going to now go into that map pick scenario. We're going to get Office 365 picking the next one. G9 eventually comes out on top, but that could have gone another way.
Well, what I saw, especially on the opening round of Village, was Office 365 forcing the swaps. And the late swaps meant the ult economy wasn't there for G9Lul, particularly with the Lucio. Johnny B was on the Brig initially, and then eventually went over to that Lucio, and they just lost out in that ult rotation. But it flipped the other way around entirely once we went to Sanctum. Then it was G9Lul who stayed decisive, who played their game plan, and didn't allow Office 365's dive composition any room to work, and it forced the swaps the other way, and immediately just put G9Lul in the driver's seat for the rest of Nepal.
Yeah, and when we look at what we're going to get for the next map, so those switches are going to be more useful, they're going to be more practical, and adaptability could actually come into play. So while it doesn't work out on Sanctum over there because you don't have a lot of time on control, we look at a map like an escort map like Rialto, which we're likely going to go into next. There is more opportunity to switch between stages of the map where you're on attack or defense. There's a lot of choices and a lot of options that you have to take into account there. And that does seem to be something that both teams are willing to do. They're willing to try out different things, or counter their opponents in a lot of ways. And we might not see this almost one-on-one mirror the entire time for that reason.
Oh, I'm here for it, Classy. I'm here for it. I'd love to see some good Widowmaker come out. I love to see
Yeah.
some different strategies, and you get the rock paper scissors game fully in play. Like that's one of the most fun parts of Overwatch to me. Really experimenting with the macro and the strategy of it all, and
Yeah.
not just seeing the mirror all the time. Which I enjoy some brawl as much as the next person, but some fantastic Widowmaker play in particular, some Tracer play. Oh man, put the smile on my face.
It really does, because it's just, you remember how fun all those heroes are when you play them yourselves, when you've seen them be played in the past. It just gives you that warm fuzzy feeling inside that you
Indeed.
never thought you'd get with Overwatch again. No, you do. It's an amazing game, of course. Well, we've seen G9Lul win the first round. The first map was Nepal. They got away with that one. Office 365 no scope has plenty of opportunity to come back, and of course we got to remember, these are the teams that go to 6 maps every single time they meet. It hasn't happened yet, so we cannot give you any guarantees, but the data is definitely with us, and statistics, they don't lie. They're a very trendy thing. They keep going in a very stable direction, and usually you can predict what's going to happen. That
Well,
being said, it's always Overwatch, Bullskunk, and you know what we say about Overwatch: you never know what's going to happen.
well, I feel like the trends have already been broken with G9 coming out as strong as
Kind
they
of,
did.
yeah.
So you know what? Maybe this is the day. Maybe we're living an opposite day, and stonks are up for the unexpected right now. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I'm
We're here
expecting a
for
tight
it.
series either way. I'm here for it. I'm here
We're here
for it.
for it.
And then
Yeah.
then these teams are playing for the best causes. They don't want to. They're not going to go down without a fight. They want to keep it. They want to keep it in their favor for their charities. I mean, that's all these teams playing for these wonderful charities. And Office 365. They're playing for Game Changer. They're going to turn this thing around. I have faith. They're going to keep it at least
Yeah.
competitive. I'm not expecting a 3-0 just yet. I'm not calling that one by any means.
No. Well, one thing I'm willing to predict is that we're not going to get a draw on this map because it's Escort. It's a
Solid.
fairly safe guess. I know.
Safe
I
bet.
know it's a
Safe
safe
bet.
guess, but hey, how cool would it be if we get the draw on the Escort map? Like, how cool would that be? I think it still hasn't been recorded on stream, like on a tournament match ever in competitive history of Overwatch. So it would be really cool, and I keep always being hopeful for it. But it's wishful thinking most likely.
Well, we'll keep an eye out, see if that. I mean, it would take like a full hold right after point A. Like that's not going to happen on point B. It would have to be under this point A archway if it's going to happen.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of historic battles take place under the point A archway throughout the years, throughout all levels of Overwatch, as we see G9 come out on the defense. Going back to the Sigma Rhine.
Well, we've seen them do it before in places where they know they can sort of bunker up or use environment to their advantage. It is a very strong tool to do, so I'm not at all surprised that they go with it. The one thing that, of course, a question mark is how can you get through it when they set it up again? Because last time around, Office 365 wasn't that successful with it, and they're going to try and attack it in a very similar way. Big Easy on the Big EZ on the Hanzo has been a very big tool. They have to find those openings, go on those flanks, which is possible on this map. They still have to be careful not to just get shut out and split off from the rest of their team, like Senior Cheese was, for instance.
Well, no Lucio on either side. So it's going to be difficult to close the long gap, but it could also make the rotations from G9's defense a lot slower, which might leave some openings for Big EZ to find those tree trunk headshots. G9 right now just holding choke, nothing surprising. Just going to stand here on corner, get a little aggressive. They're going to get thwarted by the Maywall temporarily. Ooh, nice shot from
actually
Burn.
gets the counter. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With that, I mean, that stopped Jayon's progress on that Blizzard. They were already 50% there, so it's going to allow Burnett to catch up a little bit. As we're getting Mod coming through the side room. Like, Mod, how did you get over there, my friend? That was a little bit off in strange land, trying to work the flank angle, but Johnny B is there to pick up the slack. It's going to take Big EZ out of the fight. And now we've got the Senior G charging forward, looking to burn him down, blocks him off with the Maywall. The high charge, Zarya finds the kill, finds 2 kills, as a matter of fact. And Senior Cheese opening up the courtyard for Office 365.
Jaehan has been really good about the Mei play today. That doesn't always win the 1v1, but has consistently had an ult charge, again, about 30% ahead of where Burninate is. And a lot of that fight just comes down to over-aggressive positioning. Both Johnny B, Mott William, even Mortal Wombat to a degree, they all get a bit too aggressive, get walled off and taken out. This is a good wall for the attack, but there is a Transcendence out that will likely stop a lot of follow-up, and the Shatter's good!
Flank Shatter lands on two. Catalyst goes down immediately, and the Transcendence is going to fade. The Dragon's there, buy a little bit of space, and they're actually going to take Mortal out of the fight. Still a big potential. Without the Immortality Field there, that Blizzard, it just freezes up the entirety of the offense, and the brakes are slammed on this card.
You have to get that card there kind of the first go. We know how tough it is to get it past sooner, because what you don't realize a lot of the time is that card gives you so much environmental protection. It's just in the way. So if you're going through this choke point over here, you can just hide behind the card. It's an extra healer you can take with you. It has a lot of advantages. So the fact that it's this far back only makes it harder to actually get it those last few meters. As short as that distance is, you still got to get it there. You got to get to that card before you can push it. And that's where G9Lul will have a lot of advantage.
Playing it slow, they're just moving up to the top, hoping Big EZ can land one of these fat arrows. Ideally on a Johnny V, who is holding the Discord. Electra be a good target too, went down to 1 health. Tells me Office 365 are really trying to focus that back line, see if they can get that early advantage before they even aggress onto the objective. Deadeye out with the with the Gravitic Flux is going to take Big EZ out of the fight, and that's a big chunk of damage gone. Office 365 now relying on Cheese to get that charge up, but the reinforcements are just falling all around them.
They're not getting through on this one, and it looks like it's going to be a tough one to get through as well. I mean, you will have that Mei Blizzard, you'll have a window, but Big EZ will have to touch that cart most likely. Go on the flank with that Tracer, and the Tracer so much tougher to burst things down without those headshots of the Hanzo. Might be able to get on to the top of the Zenyatta though. It could be Electric's worst nightmare, but right now they have to, again, they have to approach this cart first and into position without a lot to work with.
Big EZ under a lot of pressure. You can't die now. You got to at least get into overtime. Matrix down from the attacking team. The Shatter comes through from the defense. And by much, Jaehan's going to respond with the Blizzard. Oh, excuse me. Burninate does as well. Hey, it's a lot of snow. And when it ends, the Transcendence, the Solid goes coming out, and the Shades continue to come through. There it is. Hypno tilting the balance. Sans Zarya. Hypno goes in and take matters into his own hands, into his own hammer, and will eventually pick up point A. That was a close one, Classy.
Such a big win condition is getting that Transcendence online for Solid Ghost and not letting Electric get it off. Imagine if that was a counter Transcendence. He's trying to get it out now to touch that cart, and they might still be able to stop something. The Shatter gets whiffed. Bullskunk, this might not be over.
No way, they're actually going to push him, but Electric goes down. It's just a Mortal standing on the point. Burninate trying to get close, but can't. Immortality Field there temporarily. Oh, there's a stick on the Johnny B, and that's going to do it. It's 365, will pick it up. A valiant attempt from G9Lul, but it costs you ultimates to even make that attempt.
Well, they had to. Like, again, it's one of the situations where if you don't use them, you don't get the point, you're going to be very annoyed that you didn't use it when you had it. They'll still have that Graviton Surge. There'll be a Gravitic Flux and a Blizzard on the other side. It's a good combo, but we'll see if they want to invest those ultimates in that way. And with those Immortality Fields, it's hard to get these combos off. A lot of the time, half your combo, your entire combo will just be thwarted by one press of a button.
It's the Transcendence from Electric. I thought they might want back. We'll see. I mean, they're already 50% to another one, so props to you there. Senior Cheese, obviously with that big Graviton Surge. They gotta get past this Gravitic Flux first. Everybody inside gets slammed. That was a 4-man Flux. Blizzard coming through from the defense as well. It's gonna be a lot of follow-up. Does a lot of damage. And Solid Ghost not able to get the Transcendence up in time. A couple of trades coming back in, but I don't think it's going to be enough to get him around this very difficult point. Well, with that said, Senior Cheese and Big EZ take the supports down. And, oh my goodness. All right, they're
Yeah.
just gonna make a liar out of me and kill all the supports. That works. That works.
Solid Ghost and Jehan and Big EZ have been on such a hunt for those supports on the other side, and also charging their ults up quickly. They might not get it there though. They went a bit too far forward, and Senior Chi is already down. Hypno being frozen.
Yeah, Hypno being with Shatter in that as well. The Blizzard will take Mortal out of the fight, which is gonna be enough. Take out the main tank, zone off the rest. And Mod is just gonna hurl himself. That's a yeet there, Mod. That's a yeet. And a little bit of a G9. I mean, it was forced by the Blizzard.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, we're not gonna talk about the semantics on this one. It's just funny to say because it's their name, honestly.
Fair,
like, it's
fair.
just they were
I
around
accept that.
there, so we'll just call it a G9. We'll see what happens on this time though. Big EZ close to that pulse bomb as mistaken it before. And they have a window to work with too. The other side, more ultimates, but can they get the value? Because they haven't been so far.
Well, Shatter out doesn't find what Mortal was looking for, and that was certainly not what Mortal was looking for. A trip back to spawn as the pulse is thrown into the back. But the Bubbles are keeping them alive momentarily. Mod Williams gonna drop this Deadeye, try to respawn. Hey, not bad, not bad. You found Catalyst with it. You sacrifice yourself for it. Oh, but Burning It goes down as well. So despite finding the primary support of healing, this cart continues to roll into the cathedral.
Yeah, they can't push in. They know they need Catalyst for this,
Yeah,
though.
got
So
it.
it still slows
Yeah.
them down, and that's good. The window as well is a good deterrent. Might not have needed it, but it's definitely the security so that you can all respawn. Radius has swapped over to that Zarya a while back, and still not close to a Graviton. We'll see this Blizzard come out, but a good Immortality Field once again saves.
And once again, the two DPS go down. And another swap that I really like was Electric onto the Lucio prior to that last fight. They've got to get that sound barrier up, and they don't. They go down too quickly. The DPS got a little bloodthirsty there, stuck their noses out, and got them torn right off. And the Graviton Surge combined with a Blizzard should solidify this point. Yeah, that Doomfist just has nowhere to run. And then they're still coming through, trying to get this clock down as low as humanly possible. But with Mortal out of the fight, sound barrier is going to fade, and this is a foregone conclusion. It's just a matter of how long it's going to take for 365 to close this out.
Well, 15 on the clock. That's 15 seconds that you weren't able to stop them for. So whatever happens, we either get a victory for Office 365, or we could potentially get extra rounds coming out of this one. 15 seconds, not a lot to work with, but it is something. It is something. Get an extra minute on top of it potentially. What's going to happen on the other side, though, is that G9Lul now has to push that card to the end, regardless of time bank. They'll be fine because it's escort, but it's still one of the situations where they took a while to get things going on their defense to actually stop them. It was good on point A, but then that snowball came through and they couldn't really stop them before point 3. And a lot of that is down to the way that they play around their DPS and supports. Especially Mott William and Burnonade have a tendency to go a little too far, a little too deep, and that's not necessarily their fault. They're trying to set up these plays with tank combos, with ultimates, where they can run around the enemy shields and get the follow-up. But every single time that Immortality Field from Catalyst comes out, and because that Immortality Field comes out, they cannot actually get those eliminations, and then they're stuck like, oh, I wanted to do something now, but I have to wait for the Immortality Field to be down so they can actually counter my flank. And then that whole element of surprise, that whole execution is completely disrupted. So that just being aware of the Immortality Field cooldown and working around that is something that if they manage to improve, their entire result in gameplay is going to take a massive boost.
Looking to see if they can complete this point. G9 not really making a whole lot of changes. Mid sticking with the Zarya coming here on the attack. And I like Johnny B is sticking with the Lucio. Again, I think that speed is so important to cover this gap. You see Mod with a beautiful kill, despite the wall in the way. He was able to thread the needle and take Senior Cheese out of the fight early. That's a huge pick to start off this fight, because with Big EZ on the Tracer, there's not a whole lot of frontline damage.
There would be a lot of flank damage, though, which is nice to have, and Big EZ has been doing amazing on the Tracer so far. That big change of Electric and Johnny B swapping out like who's playing what support and what supports they're playing, that's actually a big deal. That does seem to me like Electric wasn't completely comfortable on that Zenyatta. And it's like, Johnny B, you just go to that Lucio, because this will probably work better as a combo.
Nice Shatter, finds 3. And immediately Sports down, main tank down. The rest of this fight's gonna be easy peasy for G9 as they lemon squeezy their way into the back of point A with little resistance.
It's definitely a big leg up on what the time bank that Officer 65 set up for themselves. They did touch. Big Easy is managing to make it there on that Tracer. So they might get another shot here. Both windows out, and it's just the Reinhardt and the Tracer on the cards. And the kills are going both ways. It's not really happening right now for anybody.
Now, Transcendence used to counter the Blizzard over the point, and it's going to allow Office 365 to get the majority of their defense back. Shatter comes through, finding 4! What a play from Hypno Beam! I felt that earthquake from here, Classy.
Oh, it's a great one as well, just around that flank. They thought they had him, but then they just, nope, they shatter them and get back into it. And Hypno Beam finally hitting another good shatter. It's been a while. A lot of them went into shields or just whiffed completely. It's good to see them come down when they do. It's sort of a go big or go home situation. Like he either does go big or he kind of lets them go home. We'll see if Mott William and Mitridius can set up something with of a combo. They can do it separately too as well, of course. But definitely see what they do with that immortality field counter. Are they going to be able to drag it out before the Blizzard or the Graviton falls?
Graviton Surge comes out. The Blizzard is there indeed to counter, just as expected. Sound barrier used from the attacking G9, and all of those ults fade, and it's going to end up in a 1-1 trade from the DPS. And Matrix now out as G9 try and fall back, use a little bit of the cover from the trees to see if they can get an opening pick. With Mortal going in, would look like they were in a little bit of trouble. He kind of rotated around on the cart and now got themselves on the other side, threatening to get pounced upon, but the immortality field keeps him alive, keeps him in the fight, despite the discord, despite the focus fire coming through. It's Catalyst who ends up falling from a beautiful fire strike. And it could be just the opening they need. Got to take care of this Tracer in the back line first, but mid is at 90 charge. There's so much damage coming out of that Zarya that Big EZ just has to fall back. Now going in for take two, but gets flashbanged, is able to recall out of that. They dash through, drop the pulse. Johnny goes down from that wicked 180 pulse bomb. And once again, just when you think Office 365 are out of the fight, they pull themselves up by the bootstraps and they find the picks. And Matrix out once again, though, and Mortal's able to find two to push it home.
Yeah, that's one of those moments where Big EZ gets value in the back line, but because they're not close enough, they can't stop the cart, and they can't actually contribute to the frontline fight. It's okay. It's a great play style. They definitely held them for a lot longer than it initially looked like. It's almost a quick point A capture. And now they're still on a bit of a similar pace as Office 365 for themselves. G9Lul looking for this high ground approach. We get through this door. Have the Graviton ready. Once again, the Immortality Fields are alive as well.
Yeah, and the May wall to protect against the follow-up. Sound barrier comes through from Johnny B, but it's not enough to keep mid alive. As Office 365 going for the top rope shatter. I think no, excuse me, it was a counter shatter from Mortal, catching him from the top rope. That's going to send them back, but they're not able to find the follow-up. And despite the good shatter coming through, the kills are all in 365's favor.
I will say that was a bit unfortunate that they used the Immortality Field and the wall at the same time.
Yeah.
Inside of Electric and Burninate. I mean, if you use them separately, you get so much more value out of it. We'll see if they maybe adapt that or like what that was. For now, Mitridius still has that Graviton Surge ready. They need to be able to use that. Maybe with a charge on the Zarya as well, because Mitridius, of course, barely taking any damage on those bubbles right now, as well as Senior Cheese, although they're very low. Their Hypno Beam jumps in the middle of the enemy team. Maybe wanted to go for a play, gets slept instead.
But it's both the Blizzard and the Graviton Surge, countered by the Transcendence right now. And Big EZ is able to find a couple kills in the interim, working around that outside. Well, that's a desperation charge from Mortal, but they're not even going to make connection with the wall before getting burned down by Senior Cheese on the Zarya.
Senior Cheese coming alive, really. It's what we like to see. We know they're great off tank, and they're showing it right now. Ultimate Bank has been draining, though. They'll have that Graviton and that Pulse Bomb fairly quickly in this next fight, but they are losing out on a lot of charge. And coming back in here with this High Noon, with the Shatter, with the Window, there could be a good attack coming out, especially when you use that wall so early.
G9 need a good attack. They've got 45 seconds. This is essentially final fight. It's such a long walk back. It'd be tough to have a broken fight at the end, but hey, nice fire strike through a perfectly timed amp matrix. And mid is going to go ahead and pick up one as well. Biggie's pulse bomb does counter back. It's going to force G9 to drop to the low ground. This is a dangerous position as Senior Cheese and Company are just sitting up there waiting. Jahan now has the Blizzard online, and G9 just have to back off. First they give up the high ground, now they've got to give up the corner and regroup with 13 seconds.
It doesn't look great for them, but at least they're able to make it back to the cart. 7 seconds to go. All they have to do is push it into point B to get an extension here. Good Blizzard, though.
Yeah, Johnny B. Summer just coming online in the nick of time. And now the clapback is there. Great wall is going to catch Jayon out, but they've lost their main tank. It's up to mid to lead the charge, and Hope Catalyst takes that right down. Shadow comes through from Hypno to close it out. And Office 365 are going to tie up the series after a little bit of cleanup on the back of Rialto. There it is, done and dusted. We're 1-1.
You can just see how well Office 365 can play around not having that linear frontline battle, having a little bit more freedom in the open, a little bit more working with the flanks and countering flanks. As we're more there at home. That's more where they play at. We're going to 1-1 in the series. Go over to the Escort and the Hybrid and Assault maps for sure, and then we'll see where we're at after those two. But it's been a close one so far. Both teams really putting up a good performance, and it's really hard to see who's going to come out on top at the end of this one. Of course, we are working the first of 3, so they still need to win 2 more maps, either team, to get the series away. And Office 365 now proved that they can play Overwatch really well on maps that aren't in control. So G9Lul only win on control and maybe, I don't know, an assault map, and then we get this back and forth until one of them takes that lead. All that and more after a short break. And yeah, we'll see if we get that going again.
Both of our 3-1 teams sit at 1 map win apiece as G9 gets their map pick for hybrid. And, well, to everyone's shock and awe, well, we're headed to Kings Row. There's definitely some sarcasm in that one, Classy. We get a little insight as to what these teams like and what their favorite maps are. G9 has literally 1 map listed. It's Kings Row, Smile.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, it is a little bit of a surprise because we've seen so much Icon Ball in the past few weeks, Bull Skunk, that it's been a while since Kings Row has come up. So it's actually a bit fresh, which is weird to say about this map. But that being said, they are bringing the fun too, as Tejas B is back in the lineup for G9. It's been a few maps, but now they're going to be there on that Symmetra, and everyone who plays G9 knows this is where you're going to see that Symmetra come out. Where every time Tejas B is there, you see that Symmetra come out. Big EZ switching over to that Widowmaker actually thinks they can get some shots off, and with only 1 barrier in the way, they're not wrong. You just have to watch out for the Symmetra turrets that are on that balcony of the movie theater.
A dangerous placement for the 3 turrets sitting up top, as Big EZ is going to be in for an incredible surprise if they try to take that position, because of course G9Lul is just sitting behind Hotel. They're not going to step out and give you that free LOS. Nice rotation as Office 365 are going to head up to the high ground, look for an opportunity to pounce down. That's a good opportunity right there. Speed gone, Johnny B out of the fight as Big EZ is looking to open this angle up. As soon as that Maywall comes down, there could be some heads just waiting to get popped. But on the front line, Hypnobeam falls. Immortality Field, it just bolstered up Mortal, and they're able to push in and get that. Big Z does find 1. Could be an opportunity on the return.
Potentially could be, they do have Johnny B to potentially speed boost their electric back a little bit. They're not going to take that opportunity. They're going to try and get their front line maybe further forward for a punish, and they might get reacted on themselves. Nice shatter on the flank, but is there follow-up?
Oh, Big Z just narrowly gets out of there with a literal 1. The Immortality Field, excuse me, the Photon Barrier. Well, it didn't do enough. Once that barrier went down, there's 3 kills with the overextension coming through from the defense. G9 bite off a lot more than they can chew. And suddenly, like, G9 just ran way forward and then ran way back.
They needed electric for that. Electric has been dying in very unfortunate situations, and also has been having to use their ultimates in very unfortunate situations for that as a result. We're seeing if this window is going to get more value than their sound barriers and transcendences have so far. Electric blowouts.
The Graviton Surge Ant Matrix combo coming through. Blizzard thrown on top of it as well. That's a 3 combo stack, a 3 ultimate wipe. As the defense are not having any of it. They wanted to win that fight, and they succeeded.
And now they have a beautiful archway where they can set up symmetric turrets, build up a car wash, and the payload will never get through. This is exactly where you want to hold a team. They get the opportunity to do so, have a shatter ready soon as well, and a sound barrier, but there's a lot they're fighting into. This is going to be a very ult-heavy attack if they can get through and get the value.
Thought about the Hanzo, landed on the Tracer, gonna try to work through the alleys. The wall comes up, trying to separate Mortal from the rest of the pack. Not a whole lot of success there as the shatter comes through from the defense. He's gonna counter the Graviton Surge on the other side. Immortality Field keeping everybody alive momentarily. Soundbarrier out first from the attacking team, and they're gonna throw in their Blizzard as well as their Shatter. The Shatter very successful, cleaning up this fight.
And very quickly done. Of course, they did have to use a lot of ultimates for that, so that might come back to bite them in the next fight, especially if you only have that amplification matrix. Not the biggest ultimate. It comes up a lot, and it can have a lot of value. It only really buys you time instead of it actually buying eliminations. The Fire Strike, not getting an elimination this time through the window, but it was a nice try. And they're going to be able to re-engage and contest. No, it finds the value anyways!
Oh, that's both supports with 1 Fire Strike. Holy cow! That's how you win a fight right there, Classy.
It's the Amplification Matrix Fire Strike combo. 200 HP in 1 go, and if you don't dodge it or eat it or anything like that, you're just going to be gone. And where they had an opportunity to touch before, they don't now. And 4 minutes 05 will be what Microsoft 365 No Scope will have ready for this next checkpoint, the last one of the map. Once again, they didn't have a lot of ultimates to work with. They only used the 1, and now there's going to be an ult storm from the other side.
It'll being dropped. Chatter found 3 with that. Photon Barrier Kind of prevented the follow-up, and Johnny B's going to eventually throw down this barrier. First sound barrier coming out from the defense, but it's enough to give them the edge as TJB finds 4 kills before it's all said and done. That was a good fight right there. That's, woo. What'd you like to say?
I mean, look, you have your Symmetra specialist on the bench for 2 maps. They're going to take a little bit of time to warm up. I'm sure they haven't been playing in the meantime, etc. So, not unheard of for it to take a while. And if you can, well, have them warmed up by the time you get to this 3rd checkpoint, that's a great place for Symmetra to do her thing.
Early Ant Matrix coming out from the defense. The Shatter comes through from the defense as well, but the Graviton Surge in response. Mortality Field there temporarily, but once it fades, the 3-kill Pulse Bomb into the combo, and the attackers are going to keep rolling on through. The double freeze is going to hold the rest in place for Solid Ghost. Easy follow-up.
That's filthy. I mean, it's a counter Graviton with that Pulse Bomb. It's a very known combo, of course, but you had lost that fight, and still you just don't want to accept it. I get it. You know, you don't want to lose. And sometimes you can let it go. This time around, they might have to, but that Sound Barrier is a good sustain tool.
It's going to counter mid's Graviton Surge. And now the Blizzard coming out from the attacking team right over the back of the objective. As combined with the Shatter again. Oh my goodness. Office 365 have no hesitation on these ultimates. They're going to win no matter the cost. They're going to pick up 3 points with 2:15 left in the clock.
And to a large degree, it's a valid strategy. If you always find value with using a certain amount of ultimates and the enemy team doesn't always find value with using less, then you're usually going to come out on top because they charge their ultimates very, very quickly on both sides of this fight. So being able to use more ultimates usually nets you with a higher fight economy, and that's how I mean, that's the only way they've been winning, but that's a part of why they've been winning. Just being able to be that decisive and over investing is giving them more value and more damage output and more fight wins, and of course more fight wins means more objectives and more everything. On the other side, at least seems like there's a slower playstyle coming out. There's like a slower pace that G9Lul is approaching, and that makes sense. I mean, Symmetra takes a little bit of time to start doing her thing. Same things usually goes for some of their support and tank play. And if you're on the other side, have Big EZ that just constantly puts in damage, Jahan that constantly keeps on shooting and firing, and then the supports and tank line really more enforcing that with the speed boost and the pushing into the enemy team. You can't really set up slowly. You can't really let them come to you because they will, and they will do it fast. So if this dynamic switches between attack and defense, maybe there's another side of themselves that G9 will show where they're on attack, just a completely different team. But that's still speculation. That's not a guarantee.
Well, some speed might serve them well here. Catalyst, the late swap onto the Ana on this defense, and they're just now getting to the fight. The Maywall slowing it down just enough. Big buy over the top, and Mortal drops immediately on the charge, trying to get aggressive. The follow-up kills are there with their heads turned, trying to face Big EZ. Well, Senior Cheese moves in and finds 2.
And if you're running that Lucio Moira, there's no reason for you to really charge as Reinhardt. You just walk in there with your team against the wall and then get him. But they hadn't set up for it that way. The wall timing was a bit off, and the Moira and Lucio couldn't really keep up with that Reinhardt that just charged in. Now they used the teleport to get into a different spot, actually to the high ground. Teleport will be deleted pretty soon by Big EZ, but they'll still be there. They'll be in that position where they cannot really be contested as easily and able to push that defending team back in the corner.
Where are you going? You're going to rotate all the way around. Okay.
Yeah.
Sit above Hotel. I mean, you don't have any long-range damage. You got to drop down. Yeah, I'm just going to flip this thing right on its head. And now it's G9 holding behind Hotel. And it's up to Office 365 to come take the space back. They're going to use a wall to try to do it, but they're running into a coalescence from G9. And, well, Hypno Beam is feeling the brunt of that. It's going to get burned down as it's Solid Ghost. Jahan getting chased now is just going to get a hammer to the face, and G9 will pick up point A on their second attack.
That's big evidence where the longer a fight goes, the more value you find if you're G9, especially with that Symmetra, but also with just the general playstyle you have. Moira keeps up that fight for longer, usually the Lucio helpful to get around with the sustain. And as long as Ana doesn't hit her Bionades, as long as Tracer doesn't have a Pulse Bomb, you do win out that longer drawn-out fight, because there's not enough burst coming out on the other side, both in terms of healing and of damage. Now, with those ultimates you have, Gigi's Immortal Wombat, you should be able to see the enemy team out and win, but it's not that easy all the time.
Nope, the teleport shatter doesn't quite pay off, and then the Graviton Surge comes through from Senior Cheese, and that's gonna just clean up. That's 3 caught in that, all 3 eliminated. Nice sleep in the back to prevent Mortal from even being able to participate in this fight.
Senior Cheese has been ahead of their counterparts the entire match.
Way
I mean, Radius has been trying, but they don't. We were in their POV a little bit earlier on that first point still. They just weren't getting any charge, just not getting their weapon charge up, and that's what you need to do as a Zarya, not just for the damage, but also to, you know, help be a deterrent, to charge your ultimate faster, for a lot of reasons, really.
Coalescence out and Sound Barrier to try to keep G9 alive through this Blizzard, and they are successful and even pick up a kill along the way, able to counter with a Blizzard of their own. Freeze Hypno Beam in spot. Hypno Beam, excuse me. They lose Mortal, though. The Graviton Surge eventually does come out, and that's going to be enough to seal the deal.
Now they're employing that same strategy. Use everything we have to win a fight. And they do win the fight. Very fair. They have to contest with a Nano Boost next fight, if Catalyst ever comes back before they get to that checkpoint. I think they will. BEZ could just end it all with a very quick Pulse Bomb. And it's interesting to note that neither team has been running that Baptiste, so... yeah, Pulse Bomb will always find value unless you put it on a Zarya or a Shield or maybe a Mei even with a block. There's actually a lot that can block it, I'm sorry. It's, yeah. All of them have escapes.
And one thing, I wouldn't mind seeing mid swap over to the Diva. You're talking about they're playing this slower style. As we'll get back to that. Nano Boost in on Hypno as they're going to charge forward. Pulse Bomb does come through, but it indeed does not quite find the value. Hypno's going to get burned down for their aggression. And... whoa, T-Just gets burned down as well. Good play from Solid Ghost. Taking out the primary source of damage. Might be just the ticket, but the defense still has to survive this Coalescence, and Ghost falls to that beam as Electric is just kind of stuck up in the pipes. That's quite the counter. All right, so you're in Coalescence, I'll just throw a wall up and stick you up into the ceiling. And then Hypno moves forward. Portal comes, Senior Cheese comes through and takes Mortal down.
Electric has really been the most unlucky support tonight. It's not been going their way, unfortunately. That's a big part of why Office 365 has been generally winning in these last 2 maps, because Solid Ghost and Catalyst can get so much value out of their picks. You saw Solid Ghost taking out TGSB, Electric gets stuck into the ceiling. Like, as those 2 plays just indicate that trend where the supports on Microsoft are just having more value at the moment.
And here comes 3 ult combo, including the Big Bang once again, and it's going to be enough to win the fight. Big EZ went in with the blinks and drew out so many cooldowns. All the cooldowns got thrown at the Tracer, and then there was nothing left to help defend the big Wombo combo.
It was a big Wombo combo. It was also a heavily invested Wombo combo, but
sure.
Again, you know, good biotic nades come in from Catalyst. They follow up with the Pulse from the Blizzard. They're able to speed in correctly, and Johnny B just doesn't have it ready to counteract. It's a lot of relation, but that's a good shatter.
Yeah, the Nano's on Hypno, so far they're staying in the fight. Mortal still trying to take that duel, and Hypno will eventually go down with a little help from Burnade on the Mei. Burnade's going to find both tanks, as a matter of fact. And, well, the attacking team of G9 are going to push forward. They're infesting the Blizzard late. That only found 1 person. You might want to save that to make sure you push it in, or even to start point save.
And I think they definitely don't need to make sure to push it in. They will make it now, though it's barely possible to be contested. Someone's on. Oh, above it! Oh, they didn't see the Solid Ghost. Definitely invisible right there. We'll be going into point 3. And of course, they're already down time bank. It's 2 minutes 15 on the clock for Microsoft Office 365 no scope. But they can still make it. They need to make it with any seconds on the clock to get another attempt, or otherwise this will be a draw at best for them. And at this pace, they're not going to get there in time.
No, that they need to win this fight right here, and the wall is denying the follow-up on that Graviton Surge. Pushing through, shatters out. That's going to find 4. That's the start that they needed. And they're going to find the cleanup on that immediately. Both healers down, both tanks down. Cart continues to roll with 60 seconds left.
Yeah, they're really starting to employ this. Just throw in the ultimates that we have so we can actually win this. And they need to win. They're under time pressure. 50 seconds left, and they need to be able to get that card in within that time frame. With that Graviton on the other side, that's going to be rough, especially the Blizzard coming close too from Jahan. I'm thinking this is not going to go. This is going to go into overtime.
Johnny B needs to get aggressive and get the sound barrier up, and now the Coalescence isn't going to be enough to help survive. Ah, right there, as the big bang explodes and starts the universe of the defense, putting the brakes on the cart.
Is this feeling like a 2-1 lead for Microsoft Office 365 no scope? Yes, can still push it in. I think they will be able to touch, but they're fighting against this Blizzard and this Nano combo and the sound barrier. They'll have a few of their own online, but they have to still get there with that speed boost, and then it's just going to be a walk on over to the Solid Ghost speed boost on the other side.
Coming in aggressive. G9 just runs into Blizzard, runs into Sound Barrier. The Nano onto Hypno Beam once again. Johnny B just finally dropped the Sound Barrier of their own, as well as the attacking Blizzard coming through from G9. And they're going to find a couple picks with that, but back and forth, all these trades way more impactful for the defense, and they are going to hold 2-1 lead going to Office 365 after 3.
Not surprising after their own attack. It looked very convincing. And of course, we had that argument, right? Where we were like, oh, maybe G9 will have a very good attack because they're being overrun the defense. On the attack, you can usually set that aggressive pace yourself. You can posture yourself in a different way. But it didn't really change much. It was the very similar style coming out. They were being a bit more aggressive, a bit more straightforward. But Office 365 no scope doesn't change up that play style. They play the same whether they're on attack or on defense, and it's working out great for them. They're setting the tempo, they're setting the pace of the game, and they are outpacing G9 at this point. Whether it's in ult charge, in general rotations, in taken actions, it's just all in their hands right now, and they're not giving up.
No, not giving up anything, not giving up in the slightest. On the first attack, we saw the sound barrier just lapped from 365. Johnny B wasn't able to get that sound barrier up in the first fight, and it meant they didn't end up even using it until point C. So there's a lot more ults coming out from No Scoop on their attack. And then on G9's attack, I stand by the D.Va pick. We saw mid opt for the D.Va earlier in our series. They looked a little bit more comfortable on the D.Va, and particularly with 365 no scope bringing out the Ana. That just meant that there's just that much more you can counter. You can eat the Bionades. You can eat those pulse bombs that were thrown in that got triple kills in the wombo combo, if not the Graviton Surge and the Blizzard. I mean, there's the odds are in your favor. You're going to eat one of these ultimates, some of these big cooldowns, which could have, that could have been the difference maker in winning a fight. And on top of that, the D.Va's going to get more value out of these longer, slower paced fights. Zarya finds value right around the 15, 30-second mark. You get the quick kills. That's when she's the most valuable. If any longer than it starts really drawing out, your D.Va gets more and more value, and that's the style G9 was wanting to play.
Maybe even the Sigma as well. It's another possibility they could have brought out. A lot of people still call Sigma the better D.Va. But yeah, if you really want to go for if you want to bring more aggression and more initiative to your games, you might even want to go with the Wrecking Ball at some times. I don't know how good that is in their hero pool, of course. But Miridia is definitely that Sigma. We've seen them play before. The D.Va as well. Like there are the options that they can also go for. It just feels like they're always forcing themselves into this mirror style, especially for the tank line, and it's not working out in their favor. And a lot of that, again, it has to do with that support line. At this moment, Solid Ghost and Catalyst are just outperforming Electric and Johnny B, and that makes a big difference, especially for your tanks to be alive, but also for your DPS to get value. You know, if your DPS don't have to worry about flankers or don't have to worry about staying alive, they get way more freedom to work with.
Well, it is G9's map pick once again, now staring down the barrel of match point. And, it looks like we're headed to sunny Japan. We're going to Hanamura. Definitely a good opportunity for those sim straps to show their head.
I'm looking forward to it. And of course, you would expect the sim strats to come out with TGSB still in the in the lineup. Does look like the team's going to take a very quick bio break, so we'll just make sure that we get them sorted. So we're gonna also take a short break, and when we come back, we'll bring you Hanamura, potentially the last map of the series. But regardless of that, there will definitely be more CA after that as well. Don't go anywhere. Be right back.
G9 not quite able to find their rhythm on King's Row. Fall down 1-2 versus Office 365 no scope. And as we mentioned before, well, they chose Hanamura for map number 4, our assault map today. And gonna start us off on the defense once again, bringing the May McCree.
It does seem like it's often a coin toss between Hanamura over Volskaya. And it doesn't surprise me that they're going for Hanamura, but it is curious to see that THSB is not in. No Symmetra specialist on this map for them, which we might have been expecting because of the Symmetra strats being so popular on this one. But that might mean that they get a more, well, consistent performance, maybe. Maybe they'll get like the May McCree, get more value this time around. They are holding fairly far forward. Naturally, you want to do that here on Hanamura. Have that choke point, use the wall, use the Reinhardt. See if Jahan can counterwall this, maybe.
But we are going to see Big EZ on the sim, so the close hold could bite them. If Big EZ can get this teleport and get the team far in the back, it could put G9 in a bad position. But putting him in a bad position, well, that's exactly what G9's plans were. They push forward and just punish the 3 members that did not make it to the teleporter. The aggression serving them well in the first defense.
Such a good wall from Burninate, mainly like just blocks off the teleporter, and then they go in aggressively to stop that coming through. It would make sense because they play with a Symmetra player so much that they know how these strats work and they're ready to counter them. But it's still good execution to be able to do it too. Like, just knowing and doing are 2 very different things. Right now, G9 not only knows, but they do.
And Big Easy immediately swaps off of that sim. So just looking for the blunt force approach through the front door, using the May wall to guide themselves into that small room. But once again, a beautiful wall from Burninator splits the pack in half. And they're going to punish Hypo, who got caught on the other side of Hypno. They got caught on the wrong side of the tracks. And the rest are easy pickings from there.
It really is that battle between the May walls and the Immortality fields at the moment between both these teams. It's been won a lot of the times by Office 365 no-scope, but at this stage, G9 is doing a great job on this defending point. It's finally a point where they can't easily be overrun. You see your enemy coming in time. There's no Lucio on their side either to help them out with it. They're instead going to set Solid Ghost up with Big EZ, most likely to get some Hanzo damage-boosted arrows in there.
And speaking of damage boost, there's the Amp Matrix, double damage coming through. Just going to slow down the pace a bit. Office 365 rotating around the corner. You see Big EZ climbing up the top of the wall, trying to put some shots down, but Mod Williams takes care of that, shuts down that thought real quick. They did fall on the right side of the double doors, so the res available, and now the Amp Matrix out from the attacking team. The Shatter lands, but the Immortality field comes out just in the nick of time. What a perfectly timed Immo field from Johnny B, and then the counter punch with the sound barrier and the Blizzard. That was courtesy to Johnny B. Tip of the hat to you for keeping your team alive through what could have been a disaster.
I mean, both Electric and Johnny B doing a very good job on this defense so far. Electric has been guarding that top window with their lives, just booping away anyone that comes up there. It's mostly been Big EZ, but still making sure that no one just walks up there for free. And then Mott William taking out the Hanzo. Like you said, Johnny B with a beautiful Immortality field, and they're ready. You see it again. Electric just boops them away.
And Senior Cheese not anywhere close to the Wombo combo here. Nevertheless, Dragon's going to come through just to prevent the follow-up onto the defending Graviton Shures. But the Shatter is now out to follow that. And despite going down, well, the rest of the defense are able to find two, but they overextend a little bit and are starting to trade out. And it's just a Zarya McCree and a Baptiste left here. Okay, the May is left for the defense as well. All right, they're not as in dire straits as I thought, but still a slight advantage for Office 365 as they try to push forward. But Hypno is working all the way around to the corner. That could have been a bad spot. The rest of the team comes in and saves them.
Hypno being rezzed was a really big, scary moment right there because they had lost their own Reinhardt. And losing a Reinhardt in this situation on this map can be super important to just not take a lot of damage. Beautiful Immortality field and wall and Blizzard. Love coming out here. The high noon. Nope. Doesn't get anything.
None for you, Mod Williams. None for you. And I mean, that was they had to throw everything at it, but they were left with no other choice. I mean, they're down in overtime, but there's going to be no snowball potential for point B.
Maybe a little bit with that Dragon Strike and the application matrix. There could be some there, but I'm definitely looking more favorable towards that Graviton Surge of mid radius and that sound barrier of electric for the sustain and the CC. We'll say, though, a lot of that all still comes down to that overextension and losing your Reinhardt on the defense. Like, that was eventually what led to the respawn advantage and the mispositioning and the rear rotations. All of that was just what it came down to. But now, going to go on to this point B, attack straight through the middle, hoping to get something going.
Nice defensive wall, and Johnny B, though, falls early despite that. Big EZ still able to find the angle. Big charge. Oh, just goes flying across the point. Is going to end up outside and in a lot of trouble. Mortal sends them both off the side. Defensive Blizzard comes through. The Mortality Field there temporarily. Graviton Surge used in conjunction with that, and it will be enough to hold on the defense.
And Electric very wisely holding that sound barrier. This time around, I'm not like unhappy that they still have their sound barrier. Happened a few times that Electric had to use their ultimates in a situation where you're like, is it really effective here? And they still have the chance to use an effective one. It's great. Shatter is online for Mortal Wombat 2. So is it for Hypno Beam, as well as the sound barrier for Solid Ghost. So very even ground these teams, but Catalyst on the Ana could throw a wrench in the plans just with that anti-nade.
Trying to hold high ground. Burninate is going to find the first pick. Go in, put up the wall. Oh, gets walled themselves. As Solid Ghost drops the sound barrier. And then that phase, Shatter comes through from the defense. And, well, G9 just stormed through this high ground, cleaning off the stairs, cleaning up the attackers.
It's so tricky to find that opening to get that Shatter in that situation because there's so many walls and shields and everything in the way. Still, Mortal Wombat able to get that through and get the win. They just did a very quick push through that hallway. That wall from Jahan wasn't ready. They pushed it in the wrong position or too late, and there wasn't any split happening. There was just a full attack force coming at them. Now, though, the underneath strat is like, oh, you can't see us because we're underneath you. And they might not realize for a while. No, they actually make it to the point before anyone sees this. I think they finally see. Yeah, they finally see it, Bull Skunk. It took a while, but I've seen this happen before. But they just don't realize.
Oh, Hypno Shatter finds a shield. Well, the defense, nevertheless, are going to come through and find a couple kills on that. The Deadeye started it off strong. Well, 15 seconds.
There's 2 more routes they have not tried, but they have 10 seconds, so they cannot even try them anymore. Blizzard comes out on point. Burninate kind of throwing it out for no one, I guess. But maybe Big EZ will be the chuck. No, had to use the recall 1 second. The ball got onto the point. There's the counter Blizzard from the attackers.
Yeah, the tools are there. Attackers have the Graviton Surge as well. They do get 1 from the Blizzard. Graviton Surge used on the high ground. That's going to pick up a pair. But Johnny B's still in this fight. So that's the heals are there. The Immortality Field's still available. And here comes the Graviton Surge and the Shatter combo. G9, well, they're able to strike back with the big counter punch. The Nano Tracer whiffs on the Pulse Bomb and is now just getting swarmed. Turning their attention to the Ana. Burninate is able to allow the team to hold on. No ticks given on point B.
Burninate got to be wiping their forehead with sweat there because they threw out that Blizzard thinking it was over, and then it really wasn't. So, yeah, got to be happy about that one. Thank God your team saved you. We will go into this next round, of course, first point taken, so they have to do at least that. But it's a far more winnable situation than we've seen them be in on the last 2 maps that they lost. So G9 actually in a position to draw out this series again. And we said it before, every single time they got to 6 maps, and this could be another move towards that trend, 2-2, to go into, well, a control map. But, well, that actually means that we can't go to his map 6 because you can't draw that. If they draw this, we could. That's how far we are. That's what we need to see.
Where we're at. Definitely
that's
possible.
The one. If we don't draw this one, Bull Skunk, we won't get a map 6. We will at least might get a map 5 if G9 wins. They're in a very winnable position, but they still have to capture that first point, which can be tricky. Looks like they want to potentially pull out that Symmetra strat with the speed boost as well, so they could just overwhelm it really quickly. That being said, Big EZ on the Tracer has been a menace. See if they can. They should be able to continue that trend. They're a fairly good Tracer.
Gotta watch out for those sim turrets, though. Those sim turrets will slow you down and make a Tracer's life very difficult.
Mm.
Particularly if G9 plays some smart positioning and don't leave themselves vulnerable to those off angles. I'm keeping an eye. I'm keeping an eye on those two right now, Classy. Keeping an eye.
I mean, it's worse than those flashbangs because there's more of them, and they just are more consistent as well.
Well, teleport strat in. Where'd you go? Right side? Okay, not taking the back high ground. Just going to move into that right room. Big Easy given chase is going to dispatch the teleporter to start things off. And okay, I was about to say, it looked like the some team went out the front, but no, they did all circle up to the high ground. Jahan prepared to drop the wall the moment somebody drops down, and the wall doesn't come out. The wall is a bit late, and a bit late once again. The entirety of G9 make it onto the point, but they run into a lot of death. That's 3-4 quick kills for Office 365, and despite the misplay with the wall, the defense holds.
It wasn't that big of a misplay. It was just a little bit later than we maybe expected. I think they still split off two, like one or two members, of which one was Johnny B. And not being there as the Baptiste is always a big problem. We said that before. And they also will not stick on that Symmetra for another try. Go over to the McCree, just push through in a conventional way. I don't know. Like, it's going fairly even so far. We actually have a shatter advantage.
Well, both teams with it right now. Pulse bomb. Oh, lands on Mod, who's just outside the MO, but the shatter. Well, no, that was not invested just yet. As G9 threw down the Ant Matrix and are trying to keep 365 out of their small room as, well, they're just going to get forced back. They decided they were in a vulnerable position and are trying to retreat, but they're getting punished on this rotation.
I was kind of waiting for Mortal Wombat to just go something for the shatter because they heard the shield break. I mean, they would have heard it, I'm assuming.
I thought they were going to
everyone's basically got because everyone's basically got their ultimates up now except for Johnny B because they use their amplification matrix, and Mont Williams still on that McCree hasn't gotten a lot of ult charge. So it's a very strong hold so far. Winning 1 minute 50, 6 ultimates to do it with. Essentially, it's great, looking good for them, and a flank shatter works for them too.
Oh, the flank shatter finds 5. So Office 365 will be able to hold on to the other 3 ultimates for... I mean, that fight finished quick enough, so not quite final fight. For me, next, we'll call it a fight and a half.
That's the problem, though. They got caught by their own play, because Mortal Wombat did that too on their defense. They spotted out something is here. Maybe they know? I don't think they do. Oh, Big Easy might just get a quick kill here.
We'll see if Johnny B can get this immortality field up in time. There you go. Oh, that's what it's going for. The immortality field is there. Nice play. No big one-mo combo here, but the Blizzard is going to outlast it all and provide the advantage necessary. Ooh, the shatter comes through the other way as well as the counter Blizzard. The kills did not come through quick enough, and G9 take advantage and clap back.
Well, they couldn't. They used too many ultimates in succession, and the wall and the immortality field were all they needed to counter it. G9 in a great position. It's going to just speed boost. Electra's going to speed boost Johnny B back to the fight, and they're going to have 3 minutes 30 by the time they get there for point B. It's a good start, and of course they drew out so many ultimates there that they're going to have an ultimate advantage too, especially that Graviton could be huge. Solid Ghost does have the sound barrier though, so it shouldn't be that big of a problem.
3 minutes and 25 seconds at this point to pick up 33% of the point. Maywall out. As long as you can survive that, that's one big hurdle out of the way for G9 as they make their way up the stairwell. Drop down the Graviton Surge, indeed the Sound Barrier, as well as the Immortality Field both come out. Now the Shatter's going to come through and find 4 down the stairs, and there's no more defensive ults, no more defensive utility to block all of the damage. And that should do it. You just got to move in and claim what is rightfully yours. Use a Deadeye to clean up anybody that's left. There is still a Tracer hanging around somewhere. Nope, never mind. Tracer's gone. Points there. Hanamura belongs to G9. We're all tied up.
2-2. That means we get no map 6 today, Bullskunk, unless they magically somehow manage to draw on control, which I don't think is actually possible. It would be momentous if they just... How about they just don't touch the point and the game just closes because the server times out? That's the only way I see it happening, but that's not looking likely at this stage. I think you have to go for like an hour, and then...
If we go to Lijiang, I've seen Gardens last long enough to where it feels like it's 2 maps. You know?
Yeah, but it won't time out. That's all. That's all that we can really hope for. Well, 17 kills out of 17 stuns. A lot of Earth Shatter value, a lot of shield value on the other side. Reinhardt's really matching up interesting ways on this one. But yeah, map 5. It's going to be the choice of Office 365 no scope, be able to figure out which control map we're going to. We've already had Nepal, so they're likely going to go with either Busan or Lijiang Tower, since those are crowd favorites. But Ilios, Oasis, they're still on the table. It's all about what they want to do.
I would like to just harp back on that stat that we kind of just grazed over there. 17
Yeah.
kills out of
Mm-hmm.
17 Earth Shatter stuns.
Yeah.
That's nutty. Not only are you landing fatty shatties, but the follow-up was there for literally every single person you put on their back.
And that also shows like the priority of where those immortality fields are invested, or like how they're invested, because that's not the same stat that Hypno Beam will have gotten, because Hypno Beam Shatters got thwarted by plenty of
Sure.
walls, plenty of immortality fields. They've been really countering those tank ultimates, especially like both the Graviton Surge and that Shatter. So Electric and Johnny B, as well as Burdenade to a large degree, have been doing a great job on that. And if they could keep doing that, even on control, well, pretty good chance they could still run away with this this series. We know they're the comeback kings almost in these series usually, but this time they might actually do it. And well, Office 365 No Scope has already looked vulnerable, as has G9. They've already lost the series this split so far.
Well, let's remind you that it was G9 that won Nepal. So it's they
Yeah,
thrived in our opening map of control. Looking to complete that comeback here now. I mean, and both these teams 3-1. Both these teams kind of. I'm a little new to this scene, but it sounds like a pretty good rivalry going on between these two teams.
yeah, for
So,
sure.
like this is a big map. This is an important map here. One is going 3-2 looks a lot different than 4-1.
Yeah, it looks like we're gonna go to Busan for map 5. I'm ready whenever we can go into this, because this is going to be a beautiful one. Busan, not a lot of environmental kills actually on this one, which is very
No,
different from a lot of the maps that we have left. No, Ilios has a lot of it. Lijiang has a lot of it. Busan is really that map that doesn't have a lot of it. Maybe on downtown or on Mecha base, there's like a cliff on the side of the map.
right.
But how often do you really get close enough that you can get booped off? Not that often. So I'm not looking forward to a lot of those. That means we're gonna get probably very different compositions as well for both of these teams on this map. It's more open. The law, those bunker styles coming in. So it will be much more akin to what we saw on Shrine, most likely.
Yeah, I mean, particularly obviously control center very brawl heavy. I mean, you've got room to bring out something a little different as well. I
Could
mean, I,
be.
I see, I see, far in the hero pool. Although that's for TJSB, and it doesn't look like we're getting any swaps. Looks like they're going to stick with
Does not.
Mod Williams and Burnenate in the lineup. So, maybe an Echo come out because you got a lot of room to work. But I'm thinking on Sanctuary comes to mind. You got a lot of room for long
Yeah.
range hit scan when we move to downtown. So there's plenty of options available to get out of our May McCree mirror.
Yeah. It's very possible. That McCree mirror has been fun to watch, but the May mirror
Sure,
has been fun to watch. See the Baptiste mirrors, Lucio mirrors. There's a lot of mirrors going on in this
there
one.
are a lot of mirrors.
Um, and that's fine. When you get on higher levels, when you get closer to that top of the play, teams usually have a very similar idea of what the meta, what their play styles are like, because this is just the best play to do. And May and Lucio are like a big part of that right now, because of that speed wall, because of the rush combination that comes in again. It's a big deal. There is some variety here and there. We've seen that throughout these maps, but there is a very clear core of what that play style is like. And I do want to see if that's going to come back more in in this last map. Just waiting for that Busan map to start. Bull Skunk. I'm happy, ready for it. I just want to get it going. I just want to go because I want to see that final
I
map.
I love map fives. I love map fives.
Yeah,
To touch back on our compositions, like if you start swapping off the May McCree, you do leave the door open for that wrecking ball to come in. The May McCree are really built to kind of help thwart what was a very dominating tank line in the wrecking ball, either accompanied by a diva or even perhaps a Zarya. And as soon as you remove the threat of the freeze, the walls to prevent the retreats, and of course the flashbang with the immense damage of the fan the hammer, you kind of leave the door open for Wrecking Ball to move in and start having a field day in there. So there's always that threat, particularly if you want to swap to some long range. You pull out when you pull out an Ashe or a Widowmaker heading to downtown, then I mean you're just an easy target for a wrecking ball.
Yeah, you really are. And that's what everyone keeps saying, right? Like he's just Wrecking Ball is the Widow counter right now. He's
Yeah.
the guy you send after that Widowmaker because she can't kill him and he can do whatever he wants to her. And that's what Wrecking Ball does. But you always also give up some frontline power when you do that. Like you give
Sure.
up, you compromise, and both teams kind of compromise by having that Widowmaker as like a missing DPS in the front line, and then a missing main tank. Like, what do you really do there, or an off tank? Um, they just loaded into Hanamura, and they're like, wait, this isn't Busan. It's like, no, that's the wrong country in Asia,
Wrong
guys.
country.
It's
You got to head north a little
yeah,
bit.
yeah, it's yeah, not too far north though.
Not too far north, just cross the
Yeah,
bay there.
yeah.
But
Also,
yeah,
also west. That's also helps.
fair,
Just
fair. A little,
yeah,
yeah. It is
yeah.
definitely a little west as well. That's
They'll
valid
be
point.
back. We're
Classy with the
getting there
geography lesson here.
though. It's gonna be Busan, and it's gonna be downtown. We're taking it right there, ready for the train station. Don't get hit by those trains; they are hurdy. But for now, I'm gonna be seeing if the damage comes out spurty. Then it's gonna be. I don't know what I did there. I'm sorry, guys. But hey, gonna be getting these teams once again. No side swaps as we've been seeing them do all series. So we'll be in the red once again. Microsoft Office 365, no scope. On the other side, G9Lul, the Google team coming out. It's not that surprising what we're seeing so far, but if TGSB pulls out that Torbjorn, could be really fun.
Yeah, that's definitely a fun look. I mean, typically used to counter, a Tracer or a Sombra. So I'm not quite sure what they're expecting here, but even double shield. All right, double shield with the Torb and the McCree. I mean, that's a thick front line. That's 2 DPS, neither of which are at 200 health.
It's a heavy one. They see Big EZ trying to do something with a Widowmaker, Jahan with the Tracer. If you expect this as well with that Winston, you're playing exactly the right composition, because at this stage, Microsoft is playing just straight into what they want to do. They're playing straight into the cards of the double barrier bunker.
Yeah, with that double bubble, him already getting the cleave damage in is Big EZ first. Has to just clear out the equipment. Big Bionade over the top. I mean, that's a 4-man Bionade. That's going to get the Immortality field out early. They were so scared of that Bionade. Might leave the door open. So G9 are backing themselves into this corner, and this can be very dangerous. You're just kind of a sitting duck for all of the damage coming in. You can see Office 365 are starting to surround them and then just pour damage into that room. Your back is literally against a wall, and now Office 365 just smashed you into that wall.
A bunker is only as good as the amount of resources you can both preserve and deny, and they didn't deny much, and they didn't preserve that well. It's unfortunate. Like, theoretically, this composition is pretty good against what Microsoft's running, but the issue is that if you get all those anti-nates through, if you let all those Widow angles stand, and if all that cleave just comes through for free, then you're not going to have a bunker for long. And unfortunately, they have to swap over to a different composition, and there we see Mortal Wombat straight over to the Wrecking Ball.
But look at the ult advantage they've given up because of it. As the Nano Boost goes on to Hypno Beam to start things off, they're immediately going to find value with that maximum shock value. As a matter of fact, taking TGSB out of the fight and continuing to cleave through the support. It's going to drop that Primal Rage. Go ahead and chase Johnny B all the way to the back. Immortality Field already used. Nothing to save him. Hypno Beam doesn't pursue. Wise move. They don't want to overextend. A lot of damage done, a lot of percentage built.
Going to be seeing what goes into Mortal Wombat's role. Right-clicking to go straight onto the Ana Catalyst. Almost down. Ooh, gets the slam follow-up. No, there's the Mercy to help her out, but that is a Valkyrie forced out as a result, Bullskunk.
And the peel from Hypno Beam is left. Senior Cheese kind of alone, but the Pulse Bomb is there to follow up on the Graviton Surge. I thought they might not have had it, but no, Jahan's all over it. Throwing in the Big Bang once again.
The Tracer play on the side of Office 365 No Scope has just been really good. We're going to get a bit of a pause. We'll probably see soon what that's all about. But yeah, it's so far not looking great for G9 on this first point. That's not a problem. We've seen them do the comeback before on the first control map of Nepal. But Yeah, it's looking strong. A lot of this was probably just down to that first fight. Losing all of that old charge, losing that fight very heavily, and then just continuously swapping to try and get back into this round. Not looking great. It's a kind of nature of control. If you don't start off strong, it's very hard to claw your way back. Didn't just start off not strong. They started off just being decimated, and that's a disadvantage you don't get back from easily.
No, not at all. That snowballs so quickly on control. I will say with the heavy investment from Office 365, the ult economy has balanced a little bit. As we see sound barrier, we will see sound barrier and self-destruct available for G9. They've also gone to this Zenyatta Lucio. I'm not crazy about this class. You don't have a lot of healing at all, and the Lucio speed doesn't really get as much value as it might in a rush comp.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Electric is obviously still on the Lucio right now because of that sound barrier. I mean, it's
Sure.
still a very good ultimate, regardless of that speed boost and just not being as valuable. But it is questionable to have that going around for sure, especially if you play against that Merciana combination. The longer a fight goes, the more value they find. They need to finish fights quickly, and it has not been G9's strong suit, so to speak.
It doesn't seem like that's what they want to do. Like they're more.
Yeah.
We've talked about their pacing,
That's what
and
they that's what they should do, right?
that's what they
Yeah.
should do, especially with this composition. This composition definitely favors high octane, quick fights. But they seem to be a slower, a little bit more methodical team with their setups and kind of drawing out these fights. So I'm a bit surprised here. As it was Jahan with the DC, but they had just used that pulse bomb. So really, no
Yeah.
harm done. You're gonna get back in the fight quick. You didn't lose, but maybe 5% ult charge, and here we go. We're back into this thing. Final fight territory, last chance for G9.
Well, at least they now know that they don't have to worry about a flanking Tracer for a little bit because she's
Fair.
not back there. But Johnny B has swapped over to the Baptiste, exactly addressing that concern you had about the lack of healing.
I like
They
it.
won't be as explosive, but they do have the Immortality Field now for the dive counter.
Pushing around, but they're going to have to deal with the nano-boosted Winston of Hypno Beam. Self-destruct over the top. It's going to take down Catalyst. Oh, it's a good start, but Mortal goes down. T-Just-B picks up a pair. No more healers left on the battlefield as Burninate moves in to help clean up the remainders.
They sowed enough discord with that self-destruct to just get through it. Electric make sure that they actually have to sustain for the fight with the sound barrier. Now their banks are empty. 70% is the closest they are to an amplification matrix, and on the other side there will be 3 ultimates ready. Most importantly, that Graviton Surge. But even that Primal Rage and then High Noon can do plenty of damage if you put them in the right position, and Big EZ can get there. One fight is all it takes.
Ooh, nice kill. Pair of kills from DHSB. Start off the fight. That was a big play. That's going to win it right there. Just did a couple of shots and a little help from their team. It's the DPS duo of G9 prolonging this map.
And such a big difference as well straight away into the ultimate economy, because now they're almost even. They almost got those 4 ultimates online themselves. That makes this next fight so much more interesting. And this could be the last fight, depending on how long it drags out.
Johnny B, the smart swap onto that Baptiste. I mean, that's, to me, been the big difference maker here is that M-Matrix is ready to go after just a fight and a half. Going into both, take ultimates from the other side. Didn't see the Immortality Field come up, but nevertheless, only 1 casualty from the Graviton Surge and the Primal Rage. Valkyrie used as well, and now the chance for the counter. Blizzard is out. TGSB is going to get interrupted. Oh, does get the Deadeye off and is able to get one with it. And with the trades coming through, approaching final fight, the Shatter down onto the remaining members as hard as Jahan tried, was not able to quite kill everybody. And G9 bring this thing back from 99-0 and should take downtown.
Who's gonna make it? The answer is nobody. That's gonna be indeed the first round won. And what a comeback. With all those switches, they knew exactly where they wanted to go, and they even forced out switches from the other side. That's the biggest deal. Because if you keep swapping your own heroes, you lose out on so much ult charge, on so much advantage, on so much you've worked for in the past fight or two. And the fact that Hypno Beam, Senior Cheese, like half that team also swapped in the end, that is a big deal, because that means you kind of even everything out after winning that first fight. Going on to Mecha Base, this is where you're just going to see that brawl, that rush brawl with the Maze, the Reinhardts, the Zaryas. Lucio, Baptiste. Like, this is just going to be a mirror match, and that's okay. The only difference we're seeing is, no, Midrees is going over to Sari. I was going to say that it's a bit odd on this map to go with the Diva.
Right.
But they're gonna stick with that indeed. So it's going to be a mirror matchup, as we've seen before. This is the one where you have to do it.
Talking about the Maywall's Immortality Field combo and then the bubble usage. We saw the Maywall trying to split off the healers from G9, but they're able to get around by that. Big charge takes Mortal down. Hypno was very low in their own right, but is able to fall back into the safe embrace of those supports. And you can see Office 365 have just claimed all of this space. G9 are now trying to fall back into the hallway and aren't going to make it.
They're really not. Senior Cheese is taking down TGSB, and that kind of just is everything they needed to do. First point cap going over to Microsoft Office 365. They need to win this one to stay into the series to potentially still win it. That's a good wall, though. It started off from Google.
The Hypno Beam gets walled off in their own right. And, well, okay, the kills still come through. Senior Cheese is able to just keep pouring through the damage, despite the Ant Matrix and the walls from the other side.
Big difference again, the Immortality Fields. Johnny B's got destroyed instantly, and Catalyst just floated there for way too long. No one shot at it, and that gave the damage to pull through. Now, there will be sound barriers for both teams, as well as Blizzards and the Tank Ultimates. They're still very even. The big difference is the high noon charge, but even that's not that big of a deal for McCree's. Ooh, good freeze. That charge is going to get him.
Indeed it will. Great start as the die finds 2! Oh, and Senior Cheese finds 2 as well, despite the lack of shielding, the lack of Reinhardt. It is Office 365 continuing to put the pressure on.
As soon as Mortal Wombat drops onto that point, that entire bridge is open. No shields, no nothing. Everyone's going to go down that's up there. And unfortunately, it's another fight win for Office 365. I mean, I say unfortunately, but it just means we get more gameplay, which is great. Burninate with the Blizzard ready, as well as the Graviton. It's out already.
They have both Blizzards coming in, as a matter of fact. Sound barrier is there for Office 365, though, and they're able to withstand longer. More endurance. More staying power as well. Once again, a Deadeye comes through, sneaking in. I'm not even sure where TGSB was located, but gets past Bubbles, gets past Shields, and evens out this fight. Mortal will fall on the point. So it's just a Lucio down low trying to contest, while the other 3 members of G9 are trying to put pressure in from the high ground. Challenge comes through from mid, put pressure on Big EZ, but they're just going to loop around. Graviton Surge out from Senior Cheese and will pick up 1. Now the Deadeye from the high ground is going to pick up another. Johnny B falls, so the remaining members of G9 on this point just have to do it on their own. No healing left as the overtime wick burns, and they're desperately trying to hold on.
The untouched McCree has an easy shooting gallery. That's a Big EZ got for that map. Was standing on that bridge and just outside of the fight for so long, never really challenged. Got to free fire, built up a lot of ult charge, do a lot of damage, get a lot of eliminations for it as well. And I will see if that's going to be the same in the next map. Because as dangerous as a Trace from the flank is, a flanking free McCree can do so much more damage in the same time frame a lot of the time. We're seeing if Big EZ gets it out and how easy this one will be for him. As Burninate is back on that maze, been there for the past 1.5 rounds. And Jahan is as well. It's just going to be another mirror, it looks like. Well, this guy mid-readies will be on the Diva. Teachers might actually go over to that Torbjorn. This might actually happen. They might not go for the Mei here. It's so open that that wall will generally not have as much effect as you want it to.
Yeah, mid was forced onto the Diva last round to try to keep control of Big EZ, to still no avail. And then it gave up all the damage from Senior Cheese on the front line. Their front line wasn't nearly as robust. So, I mean, I'm looking for that same front line brunt pressure, brunt force, assault coming through as the Mei wall is up. And like I said, just too much open roam. Didn't really get much value out of the wall. You can see Burninate trying to fall back a little bit. Nice little push and pull. They're able to catch Hypno out. And now there's nothing to stop all of the incoming damage. As they're looping around. Kind of have Office 365 caught in the corner, but Mortal gets caught on the wrong side of the drum. Senior Cheese is able to push through and burn down Johnny B in the back line. Now looking to D-mech mid on the Diva. We'll find that with a little help from their friends. And after a scrappy fight, Office 365 should get first control.
You see a lot of, I want to get this hero. I want to make sure that they're not alive anymore. And you see that coming at different targets from different heroes, aka their target focus is a bit lacking. They got that first kill on the Hypno, and after that they were too indecisive as to who they wanted to go for, where they wanted to rotate as a unit, because having that Reinhardt advantage is everything. If you can use that shield and that big body to your advantage, you should win that fight. And unfortunately, they split themselves up too much by going after different targets. Let's see if they can recuperate from that. It's only been one fight, and the ult charge isn't looking bad.
Matrix on the back with the Deadeye coming through, but nobody there. They're Office 365 able to find cover as they respond with their own pair of the exact same ultimates. Shatter coming through, gets the block Graviton Surge thrown in, sound barrier in from both teams. Molten Core on the point though, could be the one. There's hot lava everywhere. TJSB finds 3 before it's all said and done. Big Easy's able to find Mortal, but that's just going to be a little bit of a consolation prize for the McCree player.
You really got to appreciate just picking out that Torbjorn and playing it to that degree where you're like, okay, so they're all coming in. We're almost there. And yes, now there's no way they can get away from this Molten Core. It's perfect timing, perfect placement. Just recognizing that that enemy team was so hell-bent on getting on top of you that all that lava was going to find the value it needed. It's that extra burst of damage put together with the general rivet gun. Seeing if Burninate can try and catch up with Big EZ as that is up there. Oh, nice combo!
Oh, the charge takes Hypno out. No shielding available against the big Diva Bomb coming through. Beautiful combo indeed.
It's a classic. It's been since the first days of Overwatch that people have been doing that. But seeing it being executed in such a way, because it was a very quick execute too. It wasn't like that long planned out thing. That's what you love to see. It's just the clean execute. I'm truly warmed up and evening up and taking the lead in this round. Again, last round of the series. Whoever wins this one's going to win the series and be, one step closer to the playoffs and the upper bracket of that.
Solid Ghost moving over to the brig, coming through, trying to help out the front line, and perhaps get the Reinhardt down as the Blizzard comes through. No, that's oh my goodness, that was a shatter coming through. That was a massive shatter, as a matter of fact, from G9 as they hang on to this.
Mortal Wombat's rotations on this Reinhardt have been super interesting. It's not always just straightforward, I'm in front of you, and there are a lot of suicidal and risky charges that they get away with. It's almost playing like the other Reinhardt would never expect you to do this, so you get away with it. And another early kill on a Hypno Beam. It's been happening a few times this round.
Yeah, Hypno just went in and ahead of the pack there, just kind of by themselves and ran right into an Amp Matrix to boot. Now, as 99% hits, both tanks out of the fight for Microsoft Office 365 on this point. They're going to lose their DPS as well. Lava all over the point. No way to even get close. Mortal may whiff the pin, but G9 did not whiff the engagement. They're going to win this. They have done it. They're going to take the series 3-2.
They took it to as far as they could. Map 5, but G9Lul takes it out. What a series. It was very entertaining to watch, but I will say it kind of felt like either team just convincingly won the maps that were in Control. Then Control was very close between them both times. It's been an interesting one to follow, interesting one to watch, and I'm sure there'll be more rivalry matches between these two teams, but for now, that was the end of this series. I'm actually quite curious which map type they usually draw, because there wasn't a draw this time, so that's why we went to 5 maps. But it could have been one.
Well, unfortunately for Office 365, they weren't able to stop that attack on Hanamura Point B. I think that was the opportunity. That was the opportunity for us to see 6 maps, but alas, no, they got smashed on the high ground, and then G9 just dropped down and take the series, moving up to 4-1 here in the Swiss format.
Yeah. I mean, I did get word from the production, like from the admin in the back, saying like, yeah, usually they do draw 2 CPs, and this time around they didn't. That was a big difference maker. And of course, as well, normally Office 365 gets the first 2 map wins, and then they kind of almost reverse sweep, and then they don't. So that's also a difference. But yeah, I mean, that brings us to only one more thing, Bullskunk. We're going to try and get someone from either of the teams or both of the teams into a call so we can have a bit of a chat with them. So we'll be going to a quick break. when we come back. Let's have a talk with hopefully one from both teams, maybe just from G9. We'll let you know as soon as we're there.
Oh, welcome back, my friends. We are here with Mod Williams, DPS player from G9Lul. Thank you so much for joining us. Congrats on the dub.
Thank you. Thank you. We're super excited.
Going into Busan, was there any doubt in your mind? Like, how confident were you walking in? You won Nepal opening map. Typically, you kind of known for a little bit of a slow start, but you came out strong, and then dropped Assault and Escort. But then entering, it was hybrid and Escort. But then you managed to put out a wicked performance on Hanamura. what was it like going into Busan? What was your mindset?
So we have stats of our scrims and matches against Microsoft. We were like 2-3 against them in our scrims. They've kind of been stomping us on Busan, but we had a plan this time, which was to just rush on every map, and it worked. So I'm super hyped for that. We also tried the Torb because we thought the Tracer might come out again, but it didn't happen.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yes, I had a thought. I had a thinking that the Torb was meant to counter that. Hey, it worked out well for you on Sanctuary, though.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sorry, I had a little bit of a hay fever attack, I'm guessing. But hey, yeah, no, it looked great. Yeah, definitely for sure. Like I'm happy for you guys that you won this. Of course, we've basically been able to confirm that this puts you in the top bracket for the playoffs. I'm guessing that must feel good as well. Um, yeah, I mean, you said it before. You have all the stats of the past matches, of the scrims, etc. This one felt a bit different than what it's been going out on usually between you two, because it's not been the first time you played each other.
Yes, usually we like to reverse sweep or threaten to reverse sweep. But this time, we did the math. We were like, why lose the first 2 maps if you can, win one of them at least? It's a little less pressure. So we decided to do that.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? Control the narrative a little bit more. It's a wise choice, and it worked out in your favor. No 6 maps as well this time around. Yeah, I mean, what I'm very curious about is, of course, you have played along Symmetra in the past, with Tisha's in. Now there's a little bit of Torp coming into it. It does feel like you're not kind of diversifying that hero pool a little bit more. Is that something we're specifically seeing because of Microsoft?
I think against Microsoft, it usually just ends up being a rush versus rush. We're always working on diversifying our hero pools and like getting better at the styles of Overwatch that's better than rush. But we're not there yet on the other comps. So we just decided to go rush against Microsoft. Mostly play comfort heroes. You still see the Mei. Thankfully, this comp is more back in meta now. But we used to run it even when it wasn't meta.
Yeah. I mean, does that make you feel confident about like your chances for the rest of the split? Provided the meta doesn't shift too much.
Yeah, we feel really good. I think we've kind of known that we were the best team in CEA since the end of last season. Microsoft managed to squeak over map 5, win over us, whatever. But I think this is kind of showing that we are good. We beat last season's champions, and this is our meta, and it's probably not going to change too much in the next 2 months.
I mean, hey, there is a wicked experimental patch for a tournament. We'll see what comes through to that. It's a big.
Hey, with us, we have 2 turrets on Torb. That's just better Torb goodness.
Yeah. It's a lot of speculation, so let's not go in that too much direction. But yeah, it's looking exciting. I'm happy for you guys that it's the chips are falling in place, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us about this charity. You're planning for Children's Defense Fund. Is the charity that G9 is sponsoring or working towards. Why is that charity special to y'all, and what does it mean to you to be able to support that?
Yeah, we've been supporting the Children's Defense Fund for a few seasons now. We're happy to have gotten money sent to them from winning in getting 3rd place in the CEA for the last 2 seasons. So the Children's Defense Fund is about supporting every child in America. We know that today, like especially during the pandemic isn't affecting all the children in America equally. It's exacerbating a lot of inequalities that we already have. So we feel like supporting the Children's Defense Fund will help make sure that every child can get the full education that they deserve and reach the full potential they can have. And I think that's the best way to solve all of America's problems going forward.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome. Tip of the hat to you. I know everybody can admire that. I mean, you got to take care of our kids,
Yeah, for sure.
Just getting there by playing video games. I mean, that's how easy it is sometimes, people, to give back to communities, to give back to everybody. Just sometimes playing video games is all it takes. Not that much you need to do, but playing video games that well, still a lot of effort, Mod. Thank you so much for joining us once again for an interview. Always love having you around. And good luck in the coming weeks, because of course we're getting close to the playoffs, but still a few more regular season matches to go. And hope to see you in the future.
Thanks.
Thank you for joining us.